Why do you seem so scared? La 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 la.
Hey everyone, it's Christine and welcome back to ParanormalTV. So today I'm going to be discussing with you a dream that I had, and then I'm going to be interpreting said dream. So I have my computer over here which has my dream on it and the interpretation on it. I did get a little bit of help interpreting this dream from somebody who has a little bit more experience interpreting dreams than I do. This one was a little bit weird, a little bit hard for me to interpret. Sometimes they come real easy, sometimes they are not so easy for me to interpret. This one was harder for me to figure out because it was very strange. So the title of my dream is Benjamin Franklin's Grave. It is not a lucid dream, and I felt very neutral. It was a neutral dream is how I would describe it on my dream journal. So it says this dream started at Christ Church burial ground. My husband and I were walking past when we saw a sign outside the graveyard. It basically stated that they would be moving Ben Franklin's grave. I was so sad by this, and I hate changes, so that's something to note, that I absolutely hate changing things. I don't like changes. I like things to stay the same. I feel like I'm very loyal to certain things, even things that don't make sense to be loyal to. I'm just loyal to it, and I don't like to change things that I've become accustomed to or that I like. I was so upset. I hate change, and Ben Franklin has been buried in that graveyard for so long. I couldn't understand why they would be moving it. The next thing I remember is standing outside of the gate, watching the crew excavate the grave. It felt like an outer body experience. Like I was watching myself stand there. The scene looked gray with a blue overtone. It was strange. I also felt like it was about to storm. I was standing next to my husband, surrounded by strangers. I felt like I was about to cry. I kept saying, I don't understand why they're doing this, and then I woke up. So this is really weird. First of all, I'm not a very emotional person, so even though I would be upset that they were digging up Ben Franklin's grave and moving it, I would not cry about it or not feel like I was going to cry about it. I more so would be more annoyed. I feel like that's my go-to emotion, is I'm mad, I'm annoyed, or something like that, because I don't like to sit there and cry about things very often. So, and this is not like me at all. So I feel like this is so out of my element. This is not something I would do. I would be more annoyed than I would, standing there crying about it. So what was really weird is I was like reading the sign and I was upset, and I had walked past the gate, and then the next thing I knew I was in a different position at a different part of the gate, and I was now watching them excavate the grave. And that was weird because I went from one thing to another, and I feel like that happens often in dreams. You go from one circumstance to another, or all of a sudden you're here and then you're there. So that was interesting. So let's get on to the interpretation part of the dream. So the shift in perspective is common when the dreamer becomes emotional, and this dream is a dream purely about emotions, I feel like, and my emotions. So it's your subconscious trying to save you from upset, distancing you from the emotions. The emotions are then represented as a storm. As I was reading the sign, I was getting upset, and I was, starting to get emotional, and then all of a sudden it was a different scene, and there was this cloudy blue overtone of the scene, and it looked like it was going to storm. I felt like it was going to storm type of thing. So that is my emotions. The emotions are the storm. So I hate change, and Ben Franklin is a political figure, and this is where I needed a little help with interpreting this part of the dream, and this is where somebody came in and helped me, and they said, so I'd be wondering what long-term policy is currently changing around you. So that in itself, it helped me figure out my dream. That question. I had 2 deaths in the family recently, and I moved, and at that point in my time I was pretty unhappy with where I was at. I just didn't like the place that I'm currently living in the same place, but I didn't like I don't like where I'm living very much. Like, I don't like the location of where I'm living very much. It's outside of the city, and I love living in the city. So for me, this move is a little bit more difficult for me because I'm not in the city anymore, and I'm a little bit further away from my family than I want to be. So basically, this dream for me is an emotional dream. It's about my emotions coming to a head and the changes I'm facing in life, and that is why I had this very bizarre dream. Let me know if you like dream interpretation videos. I love doing videos about my dreams. I know they're not always the most watched videos on my channel, but I love them. I don't know, they're fun to do for me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what your thoughts down below, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.